Hello again, this is Pam, and welcome to the reading of the Canton Repository for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. And let's begin with today's area deaths. Justin S. Ackerman, age 38, went home to be with the Lord on February 26th. A private service will be held. Steer Israel Funeral Home. Richard L. Austin, age 68, passed away on February 27th. In following his wishes, Richard will be cremated and there will be no service. Francis L. Bernhardt, age 96, of Canton, passed away February 28th. Services will be held Thursday at 11 a.m. in the Formet, Clevenger, and Gordon Funeral Home. Friends may call Thursday 10 to 11 a.m. before the service. Interment will be in Forest Hill Cemetery following cremation. Merle L. Boney, age 87, of Canton, passed away February 26th. Funeral service will be held 1 p.m. Thursday in the Arnold Spiker Foster Shriver Funeral Home. Interment will be in North Lawn Cemetery. Friends may call 1 hour prior to the service from 12 to 1 p.m. Opal J. Malladay Bright, of Canton, born September 28, 1948, passed away February 26th at her home. No calling hours will be observed. Daisy Drake, 57, of Canton, passed away on February 15th. Memorial service will be held on Friday at Roden Memorial Home in Akron from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Masks will be required to attend the service. John D. Helene passed away February 28th. The family will receive friends on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Paquillet Funeral Home in Massillon. A Mass of Christian burial will be celebrated on Friday at 10:30 a.m. in St. Mary's Catholic Church. All attending will be asked to follow proper social distancing protocols and masks are required. If you are not feeling well, or if you have a compromised immune system, you are encouraged to stay home. Dolores Ann Hill passed away, and services will be announced at a later date. Donald R. Hollinger, 87, of Navarre, passed away peacefully February 28th. Funeral services will be conducted at 11 a.m. Friday at Atkinson Fucht Hare Funeral Home in Navarre. A private Masonic service will begin at 10 a.m. with visitation open to all from 10:15 to 11 a.m. Burial with military honors will follow at East Union Lawn Cemetery. For those attending, face coverings are required and social distancing protocols will be observed. Patricia C. Howe Prinzhorn passed away February 27th at age of 84. A private service will be held at a later date. Paquillet Funeral Home and Crematory. Reverend Beverly A. Kassler, age 86, of Massillon, passed away February 27th. Funeral services will be held Friday at noon at Sandy Valley Church of God. Burial in Sunset Hills Memorial Gardens. Calling hours will be held prior to the service from 10 a.m. until noon. Masks and social distancing guidelines will be observed at the Reed Funeral Home. Herman Lloyd King, age 73, of Canton, went home to be with the Lord on Monday in the comfort of his home. A graveside service with military honors will be held on Thursday, 11 a.m. at Forest Hills Cemetery. Eloy Lopes passed away, and services will be announced at a later date by Roden. Marlene Lowe was born July 31st, 1944, and passed away February 26th. The family will receive friends on Thursday at Reed Funeral Home, Canton Chapel from 5 to 7 p.m. and on Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with services to follow at 11 a.m. Burial will follow in Lakewood Cemetery in Akron. Gladys Marie Matheny, 75, of Canton, passed away on Friday. The family will receive friends on Friday at Reed Funeral Home, North Canton Chapel from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with services to follow at 1 p.m. Burial will follow in Forest Hills Cemetery. John R. Medley, age 78, of Canton, died February 27th in his home following an extended illness. Funeral services will be Thursday at 11 a.m. in Otterbein United Methodist Church in Navarre. Interment in Union Lawn Cemetery. Friends may call today from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Kriegbaum Sanders Funeral Home on South Cleveland Avenue, and 1 hour prior to the service on Thursday at the church from 10 to 11 a.m. Masks and social distancing will be required for all services. You can view the service live at the church website. Edward Wendell Moffett, age 91 of Alliance, passed away at his home February 17th. Services will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday at First Christian Church. Friends may call 1 hour prior to the service at the church. Interment with military honors will be at Alliance City Cemetery. Arrangements are entrusted to Cassidy Turkle Christian Funeral Home in Alliance. Marjorie A. Morris, age 90, of East Canton, passed away unexpectedly February 28th at her home. A private family service will be conducted in Christ Presbyterian Church. Burial will be in Northland Cemetery. Dawn Marie Covell Oliver, age 65, of Malvern, passed away February 6th. A funeral mass will be held at St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church in Malvern at 11 a.m. on Friday. Calling hours will be held at the church 1 hour prior to Mass. All of the current face mask, social distancing, and building occupancy rules will be observed according to the Health Department guidelines. Jacqueline Jackie Peel, age 74, of Suffield, passed away February 26th. Calling hours are Friday 1 to 3 p.m. at Arnold Funeral Home in Hartville. Memorial services begin at 3 p.m. James W. Sheets, age 72, of Canton, passed away Saturday afternoon. Family and friends will be received on Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Rossi Family Funeral Home. Masks are required and social distancing will be observed. A Mass of Christian burial will be celebrated on Friday at St. Peter's Catholic Church, 10 a.m. Interment will be in Forest Hill Cemetery. William George Shaw Jr., age 80, of Minerva, passed away at his home February 27th. Memorial service will be held at First Christian Church of Minerva on March 6th at 1 p.m. Visitation will be held on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at First Christian Church of Minerva. All of the current face masks, social distancing, and building occupancy rules will be observed according to the Health Department guidelines. Brooke C. Stoller, age 82, of Louisville, died February 26th in his home following a brief illness. A memorial service will be Saturday at 2 p.m. in the Kriegbaum Sanders Funeral Home on South Cleveland Avenue. Friends may call 1 hour prior to the service from 1 to 2 p.m. Masks and social distancing will be required. Ralphie Sudero, 89, of Canal Fulton, went home to be with the Lord Monday. Funeral services will be held Thursday, 12:45 p.m. at the Swigert Easterling Funeral Home in Canal Fulton. Burial with military honors at Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery. Visitation Thursday, 11:30 a.m. until the time of service. Irene Janet Wade, 81, of Bolivar, passed away at her residence February 26th. Per Irene's wishes, no public services will be held. And that concludes the area deaths for today, March the 3rd. Now, if you don't mind, we'll just move on to our first article. Suspect nabbed in brutal beating of an 85-year-old Canton man, by Lori Steineck. Federal agents on Tuesday arrested the suspect accused of brutally beating an 85-year-old retired steelworker trapped in his wrecked car late Saturday night. Police say Ralph White and Trevon Spackey were involved in a crash about 10:39 p.m. Saturday in the 2600 block of 8th Street Northeast, near the city limits where the former Republic Steel lines one side of the highway and bars line the others. Backey, 32, of Gross Avenue Northeast, is accused of beating White after the accident and then fleeing the scene. He was being sought on warrants for attempted murder and felonious assault. Agents with the Northeast Violence Fugitive Task Force arrested him without incidents in the 3200 block of 5th Street Southeast. Investigators had earlier offered a reward for his arrest and issued a message for anyone close to him. Family, friends, and associates of Bakke are reminded that providing assistance could result in criminal charges. Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction records show Bakke is on parole after having served time for drug trafficking, drug possession, and aggravated burglary. Crash leads to Canton attack. White and his dog were on the way to pick up his great-grandson at home off of Mahoning Road, northeast, when the accident occurred. White can be heard on a 911 recording that night telling police dispatchers that a man whom police now believe was Bakke pulled out of a bar parking lot and into his path, at which time the two collided. Bakke got out of his car and went towards White, who was driving a white minivan and was trapped in the vehicle. On Tuesday afternoon from his bed in Canton Township, White recalls that his airbags had deployed and he was trapped by his safety belt, but he was able to roll down his window. White said he was about to ask whether the other driver was okay when he started using all kinds of foul language. He jerked my door open and started pounding me. I couldn't get out, he said. I couldn't get out of the seatbelt. I was just like a sitting duck. I couldn't defend myself any. According to Stark County Court records, Bakke is accused of attempting to cause a victim's death by attacking victim in a fit of rage, resulting in serious bodily injuries and victim's hospitalization. Police say the suspect returned to his car and drove away after the assault. Court records show White's injuries involved numerous stitches, facial fractures, subdural hematoma, and a brain bleed. White also suffered a knee injury. I don't know when he left. I was drifting, White said. During the incident, White's dog, an 8-year-old Yorkie named Shania, after the country music singer Shania Twain, got out of the car and ran away. At some point, a young man whom White believes was a teenager pulled up. He stopped to help me, White said. White was able to get a call through to a dispatch and ask for police and an ambulance. The young man stayed with him. White didn't know the identity of the young man. Family members said on Tuesday afternoon that they had located him and he wanted to visit to see if White was healing. White's family said Canton police had found Shania about 3 blocks from the crash scene around 11 a.m. Sunday, nearly 13 hours after the wreck. She was laying in a yard. Reunited, she continues to be protective of him, barking beside his bed at anyone who enters his room. Everyone's been good to me. As White spoke, one of his grandchildren called to ask how he was doing. Give me another week, he said from his bed with an ice pack still over one eye. Then he said, everyone's been good to me. White and his wife of 66 years have 5 children, 9 grandchildren, 21 great-grandchildren, and a great-great-granddaughter. He had some words for the man who attacked him, largely fueled by his assailant's words during the attack. White wants to tell him, put your brain in gear before you put your mouth in operation. Our next article is titled, Technical Woes, Refusal to Wear Mask Delay, Lake Varsity Dinner Mask Case, by Ed Pritchard. A restaurant owner who wouldn't visit the Stark County Courthouse for a hearing because he would be required to wear a facial covering will have another week to comply with orders that his employees wear masks. The Stark County Health Department has been trying to get the Lake Varsity Diner at 13367 Cleveland Avenue Northwest in Lake Township and owners Joe and Colleen Beasley to comply with state health department orders requiring restaurant employees to wear facial coverings. Not wearing a facial covering or mask is considered a health nuisance. In December, Stark County Common Pleas Court Judge Natalie Haupt issued a temporary injunction requiring the restaurant to comply. The order requires employees greeting and serving guests to wear masks. Efforts to have a court hearing on the temporary injunction have been delayed. Beasley tried to move the case to the U.S. District Court, but a federal judge returned the case to Stark County. A virtual hearing was set for Monday using Zoom, but it was continued until Tuesday because several participants on the Zoom call, including Beasley's lawyer, Robert Lynch, couldn't hear and understand the conversations. The case resumed Tuesday morning in Hopt's courtroom, but Beasley didn't attend. In a telephone conversation with Lynch before the hearing started, Beasley could be heard saying he wouldn't come to the courthouse because he wasn't going to wear a mask. Hopt agreed that Beasley could participate in the hearing via the Zoom call, while Lynch was in the courtroom. As the hearing started, 2 witnesses on the Zoom call had to be moved to a waiting room area to assure there was a separation of witnesses. As that was being done, Beasley told Hopt that he was having issues hearing conversations on his telephone. "It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. I can't hear anything," Beasley said over the telephone. After making more adjustments, the hearing moved forward with Ty Bisler, a compliance officer for the County Health Department, testifying about visiting the Lake Varsity Diner and interacting with Beasley. After a few minutes of testimony, Hopt had to stop the process because Beasley called the court to say he couldn't hear the testimony. Hopt then telephoned Beasley, who explained he was using a landline telephone to participate in the Zoom call. "I don't Zoom, though," Beasley told Hopt. "I don't do this stuff on the computer." Beasley complained that it's unfair that he couldn't hear the proceedings. When it was suggested that Beasley come to the courthouse, he said, "I'll come to your building, but I won't wear a mask." Hopt attempted to resume the hearing with Beasley listening on a telephone instead of the Zoom network, but he again said he couldn't hear. The judge recessed the hearing with hopes of resolving the issue. She noted that the courthouse had shields Beasley could wear. Efforts also were made to move the hearing to a different courtroom where Beasley could sit in an isolated space. Lynch then asked if the hearing could be continued, as well as for an opportunity to speak with Beasley on the telephone. "I know that you've bent over backwards, Your Honor," Lynch told Hopt. After a 30-minute delay, Hopt said she would continue the hearing until March 10th and that it would be the final continuance. She reiterated a court policy that visitors must wear a facial covering and practice social distancing when at the courthouse. Stark County Health Department officials went to the Varsity Diner in October after hearing the business didn't follow state mandates for wearing facial coverings in restaurants. Bisler testified that he visited the restaurant again in November and that the department offered suggestions on how Beasley could comply. Beasley had cited several reasons for not requiring employees or customers to wear masks in the restaurant, including his belief that there is no legal requirement for restaurant employees to wear masks. Beasley said that wearing a mask can lead to serious problems for restaurant operators. He's concerned that speaking through the mask can jumble communications, leading to a customer becoming ill if they have an allergic reaction because a special request is confused. He also said that masks are a medical device and that he isn't licensed to prescribe or require employees or customers to wear a mask. Beasley's dispute has caught the attention of groups around Ohio that believe state officials have overstepped and interfered with personal rights during the coronavirus pandemic. During the attempts Monday and Tuesday to conduct Zoom calls, more than a dozen people linked to the proceedings. And now moving on. Fairless Local, poised to break ground on a new high school, eyeing 2022 opening, by Amy Knapp. In Brewster, after years of planning, Fairless Local Schools will break ground this spring on a new high school. Superintendent Brock Bidlack said no official date has been set for the groundbreaking, but the district should begin moving dirt in late April to mid-May. Officials have discussed the need to replace the aging building, but things got serious when the district began receiving payments from the Rover pipeline that runs through the district. The building has served the Fairless community very well, but everything must come to an end, Bidlack said. The infrastructure of this building is tired. Better to build new. The plaque on the building shows construction began in 1964, later welcoming students from Navarre, Beach City, and Brewster high schools, according to the Alumni Association. The school saw its first graduating class before the start of the next decade. The nearly 60-year-old facility is feeling its age. The electrical capacity is maxed out, the roofing system is failing, and the windows are single pane. There's no air conditioning, and the hot water boiler is either full bore or off, with no in between, Bidlack said. While the fire alarm system works, service calls have increased. Repair specialists warn replacement parts are no longer available. Those are the things we are keeping our fingers crossed that we get through until the new building is ready, Bidlack said. The district's leader said officials evaluated if they could improve the building with updates, but realized it was as costly as starting over. We weren't going to change the bones of the building, he added. An influx of funds from the Rover pipeline and an agreement with the Ohio Facility Construction Commission to support a portion of the project set the district up to move forward on a new school building. Under the expedited local partnership with the OFCC, the state has agreed to fund 70% of the approved portion of the project, while the district funds 29%. Bidlack noted the state funding pays for about 70,000 square feet. Officials opted to add additional space to better serve students. The estimated total cost is $34 million. The co-funded portion totals $20 million, with the state providing $13 million of that cost and the district responsible for the remaining $7 million. The district will fund an additional $14 million in items not funded by the state, including new locker rooms, public restrooms, and concession stands to serve outdoor events. The Rover funding has allowed the project to move forward without having to ask taxpayers for additional money. Rover Pipeline's twin 42-inch diameter mainline cross Pike, Bethlehem, and Sugar Creek townships. The pipeline, through the Public Utilities Personal Property Tax, is poised to add $9.6 million to local government coffers. Fairless is expected to net about $3.9 million over the next 30 years. It is a depreciable fund revenue stream that will continue to go down, but it has allowed us to commit what we feel is capital expenditure and investment in our community, Bidlack said. The district has used pipeline money to fund other improvements, including a $770,000 project to install artificial turf at Breitweiser Stadium. Building plans. Lesko and Associates of Westlake has been tapped to serve as the architect and engineer for the new high school. Lesko designed the elementary and middle school. Regency Construction Services of Brook Park is the project's construction management at risk. They'll take the project out to bid and oversee contractors. Plans call for a 129,000 square foot building, 18,000 more square feet than the existing high school, to be built on the former Terry Griffith baseball field. The baseball field was moved behind the elementary school to accommodate the new building. The main entrance will be 7th Street, or Kings Highway, and the building will abut the softball field. The windows and brick were designed to mimic the existing elementary and middle school buildings, Bidlack said. The building will include a 2-story academic wing, with the remainder of the building being 1 story. Bidlack said the new school will have the same amount of classroom space, but it will be better utilized. Some of the classrooms will include movable walls, allowing flexibility to accommodate different classes and events. The media center no longer will be housed in a confined space, but will be in the upper hallway, also allowing for flexible seating and uses. The walls were taken down, and we can spread that work area into a flexible area, Bidlack explained. We don't have to store books like we used to. We have the Massillon Public Library in the elementary school, so we incorporated flexible space in the hallway to allow students to do group work, college credit plus work, and research. Amphitheater seating is also planned for the space. The main gymnasium, which is a co-founded space, will seat about 1,600 people. The district opted to fund additional improvements, including expanding walkways that allow fans to walk between the teams and bleachers. The additions were logistical things to improve how events are held, Bidlack said. Officials also opted to add auxiliary athletic areas, including an auxiliary gym, weight room, and wrestling room. These items, along with the outdoor locker rooms, public restrooms, and concession stand, will be paid for by the district. Details were carefully thought out, including a cafeteria area at the entrance of the school that will serve as an open space for not only meals, but also as a gathering area for those coming events. Office space has been designed to accommodate staff that work together to collaborate to serve kids. Counselors, family support specialists, the school's resource officer, and the school clinic are all in one place. The new building will feature state-of-the-art equipment from sound, visual, and stage rigging in the auditorium to security cameras and communication systems, Bidlack said. The school will have the latest interactive whiteboards, projectors, wireless connectivity, and interactive flat panels for presentations. The new building will include a parking lot in the front for students and parent drop-off, and a lot in the back for staff. Bidlack says it will improve the process. Buses will use the back lot to drop off and pick up students. The existing high school parking lot will be connected to an access road to the new school. Another access road near the softball field, owned by Brewster Village and used to access the field and the village water tower, will be paved to accommodate traffic from the back parking lot. Fairless Local poised for the future. If all goes as planned, the building will be ready for students in the late fall of 2022. When the project is complete, the old high school will be razed. There are no plans for the site other than to create green space, Bidlack said. It's going to be really exciting to go from the planning process that has taken a few years to dirt being moved and the structure being put up, he said. I know the community is really going to enjoy the process and rally around us to get this done. The construction also will turn into a learning tool for a select group of students planning futures in engineering. Regency has agreed to take the students through the process of learning about construction and trades and seeing how the building comes together. Work on the new baseball field is expected to start again. The field will not be ready for this season. The varsity team will not play at home this season, but the JV team will play some games at Bimler Park in Brewster. The up-to-date field will be similar to the old field, Bidlack said, but the new space has allowed them to design a better flow and maximize fan viewing. With the addition of the new high school, the district will be poised for the future. A new middle school and elementary school were built and opened in 2007 through an OFCC co-funded project. While the 13-year-old buildings are in good shape, continued maintenance takes place to keep up with advances such as technology. After this, the building will have all been updated, and that should serve the community for many years to come, Bidlack said. And now, Hoover Price Planetarium shows are set for March and April. The Hoover Price Planetarium at the William McKinley Presidential Library and Museum will offer limited capacity planetarium shows March 27th and 30th, April 1st, 3rd, 6th, 9, 10, and 24. Cosmic Kids will be offered for ages 3 and up at 11 and 11:30. This show includes a look at the constellations and planets, a light show, and music. It is about 15 minutes long. The University at Large will be offered for ages 7 and up at 2 and 3 p.m. This show includes monthly highlights, the latest astronomical news, and a night sky tour. It is about 30 minutes long. Planetarium shows are included with paid admission to the museum. All shows are provided on a first-come, first-served basis. The planetarium is inside the museum at 800 McKinley Monument Drive, Northwest in Canton. For more information, please call 330-455-7043. And that concludes the reading of the Canton Repository for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. My name is Pam. Please stay safe until we meet here again. Be blessed and make it a great day.